I wore that bag once for about an hour because it drove me nuts. That might not be the best suggestion for your first luxury bag. Find your own voice in there of what it is that you actually love. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I want to talk to you about buying your very first luxury handbag, about what first luxury handbag you should buy, what you should consider, what are potential bags as your first luxury handbag, what I think are good bags to buy as your first luxury handbag. But above and beyond all of that, I want to talk to you first about 5 principles or ideas or 5 things that I think that you should consider before buying your first luxury handbag, and then I'm going to give you 5 examples of bags that I think are potentially good bags as your first luxury handbag. This video came from a conversation that I was having with Dale. Dale and I were talking about the types of videos that we never really make, and this is one of the videos that we generally don't make about what you should buy or what should be your first luxury handbag. And the reason, certainly for me, why I would never have routinely really made this type of video, and I think probably for Dale as well, is really point number 1 that I'm going to talk to you about buying your first luxury handbag, and it's don't listen to us. Don't listen to people on the internet telling you what your first luxury handbag should be. Don't listen to the lists. Don't listen to the bags that people say your first handbag should be this. Your first handbag shouldn't be that. Your first handbag should be a specific bag that fits into a specific box. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it, says me in a video that's talking to you about what your first luxury handbag should be and giving you ideas that I think, yes, of course, I'm open. If you want to know, I will tell you ideas that I think are good bags or good first luxury handbags. But that's all it is. It's my opinion. It's what I think. It's not something that you should listen to and then decide, oh, well, that's what my first bag should be, or my first bag shouldn't be that bag that I actually really loved, because your first handbag should be what you want it to be. It should be what you love. It should be what your gut is screaming for. It should be the bag that you just can't get out of your mind, regardless of what I say in a list or anybody else says in a list about what you should or shouldn't buy. It should be the one that just screams at you and you love so much, it's the bag that you just have to have. Point 2, don't buy the bag that you think you should buy. I did this for a long time. I love small bags. Thankfully, I've got to the point where I know myself and I know what works for me, and I accept that I love small bags and I know that's what I love. For a long time when I started buying handbags, and the Neverfull's the exception to this, and we'll talk about that later, but for the most part, when I started buying handbags, I was buying larger, proper handbags, proper bags, because in my mind, and what I said to myself when I started to be able to afford these bags is, well, you wouldn't spend all of that money on a small pouch. You wouldn't spend all of that money on a little small pouch to wear crossbody. Those are the types of bags that you go to Primark and you buy, or you go to Topshop and you buy them cheap and cheerful and you wear them crossbody on your holiday or when you're shopping. But you wouldn't spend designer level money on one of those because they're little small bags. You would spend designer level money on proper handbags, proper big size, probably a bit like this, which I love. But you would buy designer level money on proper handheld bigger bags. One that jumps to mind for me that I talked myself into was the Brea, the Louis Vuitton Brea in the MM size, which isn't even the smallest size, it's the bigger one. I wore that bag once for about an hour because it drove me nuts. It was big, it was beautiful. It was a colour not like this, but it was quite big. I tried to wear it crossbody. It's not meant to go crossbody. It's too big to go crossbody. But I bought an extra strap, more money, to wear it crossbody, and it looked silly. It looked far too big. So I convinced myself that I should be spending that amount of money on proper bags. I shouldn't be buying little small bags. And it was a waste for me because it took me a few bags of buying those bigger bags to realise I don't really like using them. They might be proper bags and look good on the shelf and everybody else looks at it and thinks, oh, a handbag, but that's not what I like to use. If I'm not using my Neverfull for work, I like a very small crossbody bag. So don't buy what you think you should buy. Listen to what your gut is screaming at you as to what it is that you actually love and you actually wear. If you have non-designer contemporary bags in your collection already. Look at what you wear. For me, I wore the small pouches crossbody, but convinced myself I wouldn't spend luxury money on those. Look at what you actually wear and use in your collection. And the one you're thinking about buying as your first luxury designer bag, is it something, a shape, a size, type of handle that you know you already wear? Is it one of those? Or is it something so far left field that you might never use it? Number 3 is stick to your own gut feeling on what you love and what you want and what you really want to buy as your first luxury bag. Don't get distracted by sales. Don't get distracted by 20% off on a site that has lots of lovely bags but doesn't have the one that you really want. So you convince yourself to buy one of those that has 20% off, but really you still want the one that you really wanted. Don't get distracted by those. Don't get distracted by the new hype or trend item that people on the internet are telling you that you should buy. Don't get distracted by that. Stick to what your gut feeling is telling you. Don't go for the sale option if it's not what you really want. Don't go for the new version if it's not what you really want. Don't go for the trend or the hype if it's not what you really want. Stick to your guns, stick to your gut, and listen to yourself, what you're telling yourself about what bag it is that you really, really want to buy. Number 4, if you want to buy yourself a first luxury designer handbag and you want to have it forever, you want it to be a timeless bag, a classic bag, a bag that you will wear forever, 2 things I think you should consider. 1, don't buy a trend bag. Don't buy a trend bag if you're buying it because it's on trend. Absolutely fine to buy a trend bag if that's the sort of bag that you love. Absolutely fine to buy a trend bag if you know that when that trend is over, for you that's a classic, or for you that is a staple that you will wear forever. To me, that's not a trend. Doesn't matter what everybody else thinks it is, matters what you think it is. If it's a bag that you're going to keep wearing, you're going to keep loving long after the trend is gone, then absolutely that's a great bag to consider as your first bag. If you're only buying it because it's a trend and it's hyped and it's hot at the minute, that might not be the best suggestion for your first luxury bag, because they're a lot of money and trends come and trends go, and when trends go it can be harder to sell it on. It's hard to sell things on anyway. There's fees and everything to take into consideration. You might not get quite as much money back as what you would think you would get. So think about that before you buy it. Is it just because of the hype, or is it something that you're going to love regardless of the hype? I can see my Prada bag sticking out here. Raffia is probably having a bit of a trend at the moment. I've watched one of Dale's videos before. She loves raffia. She had said in that video that raffia always really is on trend. It's not a bag that I had taken as much notice of before, so I don't know if that's true or not. But I bought this bag because I love it. See the orange stripe with the raffia? I love this. I don't care if the raffia trend finishes. If the raffia trend is no longer sought after next summer, I'm still wearing this because I love it regardless. So if you're going to buy a trend, make sure it's one that it doesn't matter if everybody else thinks the trend's over. Number 5 is don't sell. Don't settle for a bag that's quite like what you would like, a colour that's quite like what you would like, a hardware that's a bit different, a size, a shape that's a bit different, because you're still going to want the one that you want. So I bought before a Lulu, a small Lulu, YSL Lulu, and I bought it in the beautiful buttery cream beige warm colour. It was gorgeous, but I got it with silver hardware because it was on 10 or 20% off one of the sites. I didn't want silver hardware, wanted gold, but because it was available in silver with the reduction, I bought it, and then I never used it because for me, gold against that colour is what I wanted. I settled for the one that went onto the sale and it just didn't work. Okay, now that I have given you my thoughts on some of the things to consider, the 5 points to consider whenever you're buying your first luxury bag, I'm now going to give you some options that I personally think are good luxury bags. But like I just said, these are only my opinion. Take them to give you some food for thought, take them to give you some consideration of what I think, but find your own voice in there of what it is that you actually love. But number 1 for me, I think, has got to be Louis Vuitton canvas. Now, I say canvas and I will give some specific examples, but there are so many different options of Louis Vuitton canvas. My first luxury bag was the Louis Vuitton Neverfull in the GM. It's huge, it's massive, it works for me. It works for me because I was looking for a bag to take to work, and when I go to work, I need a laptop, I have notebooks, I have agendas, I have calculators, I have pencil cases, you name it, it's in there. It's huge and it fits all that stuff in. So that worked for me. I loved the look of it. I loved the oversized look of it. The Neverfull comes in a GM and an MM as well, and a PM. So there's small, medium and large. There will be a size to fit most people, but it is a black hole. I have an organizer in mine, but it's still a bit of a black hole when you're throwing everything in, unless you stick to the organizer and keep it very neat, which I don't always do. So the Neverfull for me was a fabulous first bag because that's what I was looking for, something to fit all of those work things in. If you're looking for a bag to carry your wallet and your phone and your keys, although I did use the GM Neverfull for that, but if you're looking for a bag specifically for that, the Neverfull might not be the best first bag for you. If you're looking for a huge tote that holds everything, absolutely, I think it's fabulous. If you're looking for a day-to-day bag that carries just those essentials, you might not need it. But I still think there is a place to consider Louis Vuitton canvas. One, because it's very durable. Two, because it comes in so many options of bags that there is probably going to be something for everybody, unless you really don't like the canvas. I think the canvas is great. I think the Louis Vuitton canvas is a bit of a neutral. I wear it as a neutral. I don't mind logos. I like logos, so the fact it has a logo on it doesn't deter me at all. I also think a great potential first bag from Louis Vuitton would be the Palm Springs Mini, the mini backpack. I think it's got a quirky shape. You can wear it as a backpack, you can wear it crossbody, you can wear it handheld. It fits quite a lot for being a mini bag. It's quite practical, and I just think there's something about it that's quirky and that I really, really like. I also really like the multi-pochette accessoire. That works for me because I have two young boys. It's very light. I can wear it crossbody. There's different pouches and it sits flat. So when I'm running around after them or going to football practice or going here and going there, it works. I don't wear the little pouch on the front of it because I don't need that there. I think the trend for that isn't at its height anymore. I think the trend is probably coming down. As I said, I don't care about that. If I'd bought that bag because I liked the trend, I'd probably now be thinking I didn't love that bag, but for me, it's just very, very usable. And if you have those sorts of circumstances, I think that's also a great bag to consider. I also really like the one that happens to helpfully be beside me, and it is the Louis Vuitton Papillon bag. I think this is just something a bit different. So apart from the Palm Springs Mini and the multi-pochette accessoire, which are bags that you're probably going to see quite a lot of, this is something a bit different. I still wear this crossbody. It fits quite a lot. This bag deceptively fits more than you would think it would fit. It comes with the chunky, thick crossbody strap that you can adjust the length. You can take this off and wear it just with the chain and have it as a hand carry as well. I think it's a great option to consider if you're looking for something a little bit different. I personally really enjoy wearing it. I think it's just a bit funky and quirky. There are so many options in the canvas for Louis Vuitton. There's also the Alma, which personally isn't a bag for me because I don't love the shape, but I think it has a place. And if you're looking for a handheld Louis Vuitton bag, I think it's also a really good option. So I think if you check out the canvas in Louis Vuitton, you will get a lot of different styles coming up and you will get options to consider that might work for you as a first bag. Number two, and this is an easy one for me, and it's a Chanel Mini. If you can find a Chanel Mini, if you like the aesthetic of Chanel and if you are in the budget for a Chanel Mini, I think they're fabulous bags. Chanel Minis are very expensive, but they're a lot less expensive than a Chanel Classic flap. They can be hard to get though. They come in lambskin and caviar. They come in a variety of colours. They can be worn crossbody. You can get the little clips to put in the inside, or you can tie on the inside here to shorten the strap and make it either a length that you can wear on your shoulder as a shoulder bag, or make it a length that you can wear as a little top handle bag. You can get the beads that you clip across to carry it. I think these are fabulous bags. I think they look just like the classic Chanel. I think they're much more usable, the Mini really, to be honest with you, than the medium, even though I have a medium and love it. I think these are really, really usable. Still expensive, very expensive, but a better price point than some Chanel bags. And as a first bag, if I could have afforded this as a first bag, I think for me this would have been a fabulous, fabulous option. Number 3, and it's the bag I talked about that I no longer have, and it's the YSL Lulu. I bought it in the wrong hardware. I also have a Chanel 19, and when I had the Chanel 19, I didn't buy or wear the Lulu at all. But I think the Lulu is a great option to consider as a first bag. It's similar, I think, to the Chanel 19. You can wear it on your shoulder with the chain doubled up. You can wear it crossbody. You can carry it by your hand. The leather on it was beautiful. It was so sumptuous and soft and creamy. They have a great variety of colours. I've been tempted by some of the colours, but I've had to have a word with myself. It holds quite a lot. If you were looking at a bag that's an evening bag, it's probably a little bit on the bigger side for an evening bag, in my opinion. But if you're looking for an everyday bag, I think this is a great option. I think it has 3 compartments inside, which you're going to be able to put most of the things that you need to carry in. I think the fact you can crossbody or put it on your shoulder is great. I think the variety of options is great, as well as coming in leathers. It comes in fabrics, and this is something that I think is worth having a look at if you're looking for your first luxury bag. It's not inexpensive. None of these are. They're luxury bags, but YSL isn't at the price point of Chanel or even of Louis Vuitton's leather now. So it is I'm not going to say excess, it's a reasonable price point for luxury handbags, and I think it's something worth looking at. Number 4, and this is a bag Dale introduced me to, and it is the Fendi baguette. The reason I think the Fendi baguette is a really good option to consider as your first bag: 1, Fendi is having a moment at the minute. It's on fire, but it's not a trend. Fendi has been around for a very, very long time. The baguette is a classic. It goes right back and was featured highly in the Sex and the City days the first time round that I was watching it. I think it's a great bag. I don't think it's going to go out of trend, as well. Although it's on fire at the minute, when that calms, I don't think this is no longer going to be a hot bag or a bag that you'll want to be carrying. The great thing about the Fendi baguette is they come in so many sizes, they come in so many fabrics, they come in leather. You can see this one's multicolored. The leather versions come in so many colours. The fabric versions come in so many different fabrics. It has a top handle like this that you can wear. You can take this off and put the crossbody strap, although on me, this strap is a little bit short for crossbody, but you can add this part onto it at the back out of sight, and it'll make it longer and a better crossbody strap. You can take them off altogether and use it as a clutch under your arm with no strap. You can put a different strap on it. There are so many options with these bags, both in the colours, the sizes, the fabrics, the leathers, and how to wear them. I think they're a great option as a first bag. They are not inexpensive, just like the rest of these. Again, though, slightly more accessible than some Louis Vuitton bags, more accessible than a Chanel bag of the same size as this. And to be honest, this would be similar in size to the classic flap, the medium. This holds more and it's easier to use. So I think these are really worth considering if you're looking at your first bag, maybe something you hadn't thought about before. I hadn't thought of Fendi all that much until Dale got into my mind and worked their magic, but now it's something that I really think is worth having a look at. Number 5 is a Louis Vuitton twist. Why? Let me tell you. I love this bag. Why I think it's a great bag to consider as a first luxury handbag is you can get a great deal on these on the Preloved market. You'll see my yellow one sticking out there, and I got that for about 2/3 of retail price, and it's practically like brand new apart from a small mark inside. This one is a limited edition, so they do come out with limited editions every so often. This one's in the Vernet leather. This one up here that you can see is in the Epi leather, which is a ridged leather and is very, very strong. It's practically indestructible. The good thing about that is you're not going to have to baby it. You're not going to have to worry about it. You're going to be able to wear it in all weathers, in all conditions. It's not something you're going to worry about scuffing or plucking or anything like that. It's very, very durable. So if you're looking for a first leather handbag, I would consider the twist, because the Epi leather that they generally come in is such a good solid fabric. You're not going to have to worry about it at all. Also, they come in different sizes. These two are PM, which is the smaller size. There's an MM that I used to have that's the bigger size. There's also now minis. There might even be micros. I'm not exactly sure. They do hold quite a bit for being smaller bags. They come with this chain that can be extended and worn either cross-body or on your shoulder. You can double the chain up and wear it under your shoulder or carry it. You can also close it with the chain underneath the flap. And if you close this bag with the chain underneath the flap, it'll give you a slightly shorter length. So if you want to wear it on your shoulder, not doubled over, slightly longer than that would be, and without the chain across here, you can easily do so. So I think the options with this bag are great. I think the price you can get them on in the resale market is really, really good compared to the retail price. The variety of colours, the variety of sizes. I think this is something that's worth looking at if you're looking for a first bag that is, say if you compare this to the Lulu, can get it a bit smaller. Although there's a toy Lulu, but the medium one I was talking about, the small one, sorry, I was talking about, the toy Lulu is the smaller version, which wouldn't hold just as much, but has a different strap. This one, compared to the Lulu, I think is probably a really good bag for day to night. It holds a bit less, but I think it's just something different about it. You won't see as many of these. I really like the lock. I think personally the twist from Louis Vuitton is a very underrated bag, and I think if you're looking for a first luxury handbag that potentially could be leather, a twist is worth looking at. Those are my thoughts. So the first half of this video, the 5 points I talked to you about, were generally points that I think you should consider if you're buying your first luxury handbag, and things I think you should try not to think about, and that you should drown out the noise so as you know exactly what it is that you think and you want as your first bag. And then the second half are 5 options that I personally think are really good bags and I think would be good options for first bags. But that's me giving you some food for thought and giving you my opinion. You have to find what works for you and don't get swayed by what anybody else is telling you when you're picking your first bag. I hope this was helpful. I hope it's been entertaining. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't yet, I'd love it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.